Happy Pride Month! Welcome to Melon and Manga. I am Sheena, She the Key, and today I wanted to share some of my favorite audiobooks with you. I absolutely love audiobooks. I am an audiobook girly, audiobook collector, okay? That's my favorite format to read, and romance are the best in audiobook form. So I am super excited to show you some of my favorite ones. And if you're trying to get into romance, don't trip to the tip, I got you. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, let's start where it all started for me. And oh my goodness, I love this series so much. And I feel like it's a lot of people's first. Like when they talk about this is like the one. The fucking one. This is like the gateway drug into and that is, oh my goodness, my sweet babies from him. And it is written by Serena Bowman and Elle Kennedy, and they teamed up with our boys Jacob Morgan and Teddy Hamilton to bring, oh my goodness, the cutest fucking story to life. Oh my god, I love them so much. So you get to meet these two boys. It's like rivals to friends to lovers, like, oh, and it expands over like a long period of time. So you get to meet sweet baby Wes and Jamie, and they meet when they're young and they go to camp together. So over the years they become rivals. They're both hockey players, really good hockey players, and they are rivals at first, but then they realize like they can be friends, you know, and they stay friends outside of camp. And then every year they end up meeting back up and they get closer and closer. And one of their last nights at camp, something goes down between the both of them, and Wes already knows that he's gay, and he totally freaks out. Like, he's like, oh my god, like Jamie's gonna fucking hate me, like I can't believe, like he feels like responsible for what happened. So he, instead of like talking to him, he ghosts his best friend. And it takes place years later where they run into each other, and the chemistry is still there. The love for their friendship is still there. The love for each other is still there. So they end up in a situation where they have to spend time with each other, and then they end up facing what happened between them all those years ago, and maybe even something more. It is so good. The only thing that did not make this audio perfection was that it was not a duet, but it's Teddy Hamilton and Jacob Morgan, like them doing both sides, you know. But if they ever redid it, boy, honey, there ain't no saving my heart and my panties, I'm telling you. So yes, oh my goodness, it's so cute. So it's actually like a little series. So you have him, you have us, and then you have like the little novella epic. So it's definitely worth listening to. Oh my god, and it's worth having on your shelves. Like, I hope that they make like special editions of these ones, because this book is so good. It's so sweet. Oh my god, Jamie and my boy is just so sweet. You know, I got the girls at work reading. I'm like, can you listen to this? Please listen to it. Like, oh my god, I can't be the only one that's like totally fucked up from these two. But yes, my sweet babies. But yes. Now the same two ladies that brought us Top Secret, and it is narrated by our boy Teddy Hamilton. You're gonna hear his name a lot, okay? Like, they be using my boy, and he be doing a great job. And then he teamed up with Christian Fox for Top Secret, and this story is another one about rivals to lovers. So you meet Keaton, and he's like this rich boy, everything's been handed to him. He goes to the school and he's in the sorority. Then you meet Luke, is like on the opposite. You know, he's struggling to keep a roof over his head, to keep food in his belly. He strips in the evening to make ends meet and stuff like that. And then the same sorority. Now, in this sorority, the president, that whoever becomes president of that housing gets housing for free. And Luke is like determined for that to happen because he is struggling. Where Luke is kind of, we're more like Keaton. He's like, I'm just doing it because, you know, to appease my dad and stuff. But at the same time, he doesn't want Luke to have it because he can't stay at his house. So, so something else is going on with Keaton, where his girlfriend that his longtime girlfriend wants to have a threesome. And so he's like, okay. So he gets on the app and he tries to find somebody. Little does he know that he's talking to Luke the whole time. It is wild. I absolutely loved it. Loved it, loved it. It's just this one shot. And you really get to see like how he doesn't even realize that he's like falling for Luke through this whole thing. Like it is amazing. So I absolutely loved it. And then I believe that there is representation of somebody being autistic. So yeah, there's that too. And it's just a good time. It's kind of high stakes. Not really, or maybe just low, but the way that these two, their chemistry between each other and the way that they fall for each other. And it's one of those, it takes a minute for them to get there, but I promise you it's worth it. Worth the journey, okay? So, they're like book talk, popular one, and for good reasons. This one is really good and is one of my top favorite too, and that is For the Fans by Nyla Kay, and it is performed by Javi Wilder and Cormac King. Yeah, I believe that's their names. They do a fantastic job bringing this story to life. And Nyla Kay is one of those authors that like to write like taboo stuff, and then this is a prime example of how you write like taboo, forbidden love type books. And it's funny because like she's written one of my very favorite books, and then she's written one of my least favorite books. Like it's in the same little box as Goodnight Boom Boom. Okay, I hated it. Blech. But that's besides the point. So it's enemies to lovers, forbidden love, because they are stepbrothers. Like just stay with me, okay? So you get to meet what are my favorite names? Kyron and Avi. And Kyron is like an all-American boy, okay? He has great grades, he don't get in trouble, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he's on the football team, he's like, man's man, like, so then you meet Avi, and he's a total opposite of Kyron, and he's a stoner, he's an artist, he's laid back, he doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks, he just goes with the flow, he's not really worried about anything, like, he's just, there, and the way that they end up in each other's lives is because their parents fall in love, and they end up getting married, and they hate it, and it's like they're 17 when they like 16, 17 years old when they meet, and they hate each other. They even come to blows one time between each other, and they end up going to the same college, and daddy's paying for college for a little while, but something happens, and now they are pressed to get this money to stay in school. So Avi's best friend is into web stuff, so she's like, hey, you should fucking jump in with me one day, not a big deal. And then she thinks that his stepbrother Kyron is pretty hot, so she's like, my fans are always asking for threesomes, like, do you think that your brother would be interested in? He's like, hell no, like, he hates me, right? And then so he's pressed for the money, so they end up doing this together, and the chemistry between these two is unreal, okay? So the hate turns into great scenes, together. So, and it's just, this is a prime example of how you write enemies to lovers. The push and the pull between each other is just so great. Like, I just love it. I just eat it the fuck up, okay? So, and it's great to watch them, even though they've already seen each other in an intimate way. Like, it's great to watch them get back to, first base with each other, get back to square one with each other, as far as like overcoming their differences and the way that they were thinking about each other, and actually getting to know each other, and seeing each other for what they really are, and like really confronting some of the stuff that they've really been like bottling up, especially our boy Kyron, so I absolutely love it. So please, if you don't read, and I'm so glad I read this one first, or listened to this one first, because that other series push, throw it in fucking garbage and set the garbage on fire, okay? So But yes, all the love for the fans, and it is so good. And no love for Push, okay? Promise you, do not waste your time on that book. Oh my God. But yeah. So this next one, I had such a fun time listening to. So it's like, oh, this little epic little tale. It's like roommates to lovers, lovers to enemies, and then enemies to fake dating. Like it was just, it was so much drama, but it was so good. So, and that is Elle Blakely's The Bromance Duet, or Hopelessly Romantic Duet. So we have our boy again, Teddy Hamilton, and he is joined up with Shane East and a whole bunch of other characters. Like it's just a full cast. It's a duet, obviously I just said that, and it is so good. So you meet this guy named TJ, and he's from America, and he goes over to England for a job, and they set him up to have a roommate in this flat, and his roommate ends up turning out to be this dude named Jude that he actually met earlier that day and had like a real strong connection between them. You know, it's just so hot, so like organic, just everything. Like they just like found their person, but now they realize like they have to be roommates. So they're kind of like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like living together and like we shouldn't be together, but I want to be with you type shit, you know? So then TJ actually has to go back to America, and he tells Jude, because like he feels like he found this person, but he doesn't want to make Jude leave his life, you know? And he tells him, hey, you know, like in a few years, if we got our shit together, you know, let's try to find each other again. So, it's so good, so good. And, you know, Teddy Hamilton and Shane East, when they're, you know, acting this out together, it almost has you convinced that they are really in love. Like, I just love it so much. Elle Blakely has done a lot of romance, but this one is one of my absolute favorite ones. So yes, definitely worth picking up, worth listening to. Oh my God, the steamy parts between these two, oh my Lord. But even just the fake dating situation that they have to get themselves into, like I am a fucking sucker for fake dating. I think it's the most ridiculous shit, but I just eat it the hell up. So yes, just trust me when I say it's a good time. Another cute little, you know, warm, heartwarming little rom-com, and that is Teacher of the Year, and that one is by M.A. Wardell, and it is performed by Kurt Graves only. That man, he can narrate. So it is just the cutest little book. So it's like you meet this guy named Marvin, and he's a teacher. He's a kindergarten teacher. And then one of the new kids in class, her dad, you know, he's a single hot black guy. And Marvin's like, hey sir, hey. So it's like you know, like friendship turning into love, and like just trying to balance it, you know, having his daughter in his class, and the school's kind of in trouble and needs the funding, so he is trying to figure out a way to get money and, you know, funds into the door for the school and everything. So yeah, it's so cute. It's so fucking cute. And you know, you have a single dad that's like trying to balance everything, trying to like find love after, you know, a messy divorce and everything. It's just so fucking cute. Oh my God. And then you have like this little interracial couple. They're so cute. I need more books like that. So cute. But yeah, you'll definitely have a fun time. And I believe it's part of a bigger series. It's like the Teacher Love series, but you don't have to read it. You don't have to read any of the other ones to understand what's going on. Just FYI, like it's Teacher of the Year. So cute. And it's so witty, like at times, and just makes you feel good, you know. It's just one of those, it almost gives like small town vibes, you know, like romance. It's like on Lifetime type shit, you know. So yeah, so cute. Let's get into some heart-wrenching shit, shall we? So these 3 books that I'm going to talk about, me all the way fucked up, okay? All in my feelings. All 3 books made me cry. Like, my heart. I remember sitting in the car at one of the books like, Lord God, why? Not remembering that this isn't real, okay? So the first book I want to talk about is Want You Still, and this is by Marley Valentine, and they teamed up with C.E. Ritchie, and we got our boy Jacob Morgan again reading, and he is with Zachary Johnson, and this story, so gut-wrenching. So you meet these two guys. The first one is Will. He is in the service. He has dedicated his life to, duty and following in his father's footsteps, taking care of his mom and his sister, So one night, before he's about to, not even one night, but like a couple of days before he's supposed to like be shipped off again, he walks into this bar and he meets this guy named Pierce, and instant attraction, he's thinking, oh, one more hookup, one night stand. But this one night stand turns into several days, and over these several days they realize like this is way more than just a casual hookup. Like this could be more, so Will ends up still leaving, and they do like the most romantic thing. They start writing each other letters. Oh my God. And then for whatever reason, I'm not gonna tell you, like Will ends up ghosting, or Pierce ends up ghosting him. One of them ends up ghosting each other, so they stop talking, but they end up coming back in each other's lives. Can't tell you how, big ass twist. Oh, how they come back into each other's lives, and it's fucking gut-wrenching, and I usually don't like miscommunication, but it worked very well in this book. And there is something that happens in here that is an icky thing, but this is a prime example of like how things aren't always like sunshine and fucking rainbows, like there are some messy parts of life and messed up things that happen between people, like I felt so bad for them, but at the same time, like they did it to themselves, but I don't want to spoil it because I want people to read this. And Marley Valentine by herself, this person knows how to write feelings. If you ever read books that they keep over explaining feelings, I'm looking at you, Jennifer Armentrout, okay? But this person can write feelings, and they always have a great way of like telling you the same thing but in a different angle. Like I just absolutely love their writing. So, and then I know C.E. Ritchie does a bunch of other MM books too, but man, this one just struck me all in my fucking feelings. Like I felt their desire, I felt their heartbreak, I felt like their struggles to be, Will trying to be a good person and Pierce trying to like do what he feels like is right, instead of like really confronting how he truly feels about this person, Oh my God, my babies. I want to listen to it over, but I don't want to live through it again. Next up, I have another book by Marley Valentine, and that is called Without You. And we have Teddy Hamilton and Tim Page reading it to us. Oh my goodness. It is about grief and maybe second chances, almost like enemies to lovers type shit. So you meet Rhett and you meet Julian. And Julian is the boy next door, and he falls in love with Rhett, okay? And Julian is like, I believe he's an orphan, so he goes over to their house and over to Rhett's house, and everybody loves him. So, but Rhett has a brother named Deacon, and Deacon feels like he's never seen by his family, and he just has like a lot of resentment towards Julian because everybody loves Julian, but they like overlook him. So unfortunately, Rhett ends up getting cancer and he ends up dying. And at the wake now, him and Julian have been together this whole time, so Deacon and Julian are both grieving, and they have this one moment in their grief that they connect, and it is something more. And it's crazy because like something died, but something else came to life for these two. So it sucks because Deacon is torn between like his brother's memory and really wanting to explore this thing with Julian, and same for Julian, and they're just worried about people are gonna think, and like, is this real or is this just like grief talking? And this book really hit me because at the time that I found it, my brother unfortunately just passed away. So it rocked me in a way that, like, I don't ever want to, don't want anybody to go through, but I felt seen in a lot of ways, like my grief and my hurt, and got seen in a lot of moments, and like the tears were for these two that wanted love, and we're fighting for something like, oh my God, it's so good, like, and once again, Marley Valentine comes through with the feelings, with like the words that just, and then with these two just, talking about her work, oh my God, I mean, just like bringing her life to work with their voices, oh my goodness, it's so good. And I will never forget the part where Julian tells Deacon, like, your brother was my past, but you're my future. Like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? I was just fucking sobbing. But yes, this book is so worth listening to. Oh my goodness, I'll have you in tears. It's just so good. It's so heart-wrenching. So, I can't do it justice. Just listen to it for yourself, okay? And last but definitely not least, that is Sierra Simone Saint, and it is read by our boy Jacob Morgan and Sean Kristen. This book had me all the way fucked up, I'm telling you. Oh my God, it's so good. This woman, I'm telling you, this bitch knows how to write, okay? So you meet these two boys named Adian and Elijah, and they've known each other since they were younger. Like, I think Adian was like in junior high and Elijah's older, and Elijah was Adian's brother's best friend, okay? So he always felt like he was off limits, but they got older, and Adian said, fuck it, I'm just obsessed with this man, and it worked because Elijah felt the same way for him. And Adian is a very successful man. He has it all. He has money, he has the man that he's in love with, he has a great career, he has everything, but in all those great things, Adian is a depressed person. He's like manic depressive. Like, he has his very high highs, and then he has his very low lows. And one night it gets really bad to where he wants to and he makes a really brash decision, and he joins the Brotherhood, and he becomes a monk. Out of just dead of the night, he runs to this monastery and leaves Elijah with no answers, no reason, no rhyme. Like, Elijah had no idea what was going on. So then you see that years later they have to deal with each other, and they're in each other's space. And when I tell you that this woman did such a great job at bringing to life Adian's struggles, struggle to love his God and struggle to be faithful in that way, but struggling to push the person that he knows that he's supposed to spend his life with away. Oh my God, you could feel his love, his conviction, his hurt, his fear, because he feels like if he leaves the Brotherhood, there's no other way. He needs the Brotherhood to actually live on this earth, but he can't live without Elijah. Oh my God, I'm telling you, this book is so good. And the steamy parts, Lord, it's so good. It's so good. And it is actually a part of a bigger series called the Pre-Series, but you don't have to read any of the other books to enjoy this one. By far, this is one of the best books I've ever listened to. And Sean Kristen is Elijah. He doesn't talk that much, but Jacob Morgan, man, she got the right one, boy. Because man, him and her work just go so well together. Oh God, I need them in my head, in my ears, in my heart, and everything at all times. Just so good. Yes. Okay, hockey romance time. There is so many hockey books. Oh my God, so many. I try to narrow them down to like maybe 3 or 4 of them to, yeah, because man, that just deserves a whole video on its own. But the one that I did pick, the first one is Heated Rivalry, and that one is by Rachel Reed, and it's narrated by Tom. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. Only one person, but they do an amazing job. So this one is about like rivals, basically like enemies with benefits. So you meet these 2 guys named Shane and Elion, and they are on 2 different hockey teams, and they are rivals. They're both great at their craft and everything, but they secretly sleep with each other. And this spans over years of them hating each other on the ice, hating each other in public, not having anything to do with it, but whenever they're close by, they sleep together. So, and the chemistry and the banter and everything inside and outside the bedroom. Yeah. And I will say, like, the first book was not my favorite. I felt like the author really loved Elion? Is that his name? Yeah, I believe I'm saying that right. Rosenoff, that's his last name. So I really feel like that was her favorite character, and she did an amazing job at developing him. He was sarcastic, he was charismatic, he was just the man, and he knew it, you know, and he's bisexual, but he was really in the closet about it because of the fact that, like, how he grew up, and, you know, being in hockey fucking, you know, makes it hard to live your life, and, you know, being in the spotlight and everything. And then you had Shane, which I felt like she really made his ass vanilla in the first book. And so, you know, he was like by the book, you know, fucking teacher's pet type shit, you know. Everything was like controlled, everything was controlled, everything had its place. Like, he just had like a stick of his ass all the time, you know. But Rosenoff brought out a different side of him, and I just love that over time, you know, they started to get over their bullshit and really started to see each other, you know. And like I said, I'm glad that I kept going, because the second book, oh my god, it was so good. Oh my god, it was so good. I absolutely loved it. I was bawling in some parts because it was just so fucking cute, so sweet. And she really dug her heels in, making Shane's character a lot better. Like, he was so vanilla in the first one, but yeah, she was like made up for it in the second one. And I know it's part of a bigger series, so Heated Rivals, and then the other one, Game Change, is the second one. But there's other little hockey players that have like their little love stories, and they're really good, like really quick, really cute, you know, not really high stakes at anything, but they're really cute. But these 2, Shane and Rosenoff, oh, yes, you will. And it deals with some big things, you know, like people being prejudiced, people being stank, people, you know, like depression, you know, found family type shit. Like, it's just so well put together, and I just love it. It's one of the best hockey ones in my opinion. So yeah. Then we have one that I just recently found this year, and I was in love with it. And I think it's one of those books that, like, it came at the perfect time. You see what I'm saying? It had like all the stuff that you liked in it, and it was just a good time. And that was My Pucking Crush by Tori Chase and Deborah Garland, and it's read by Teddy Hamilton, and he does a duet with Joe Arden. Oh my god, these 2 together, the chemistry between these 2, oh my god. So the one line that I love is, "Protecting him is my duty, but falling for him could be my undoing." What? Are you serious? Okay, so it's kind of like a dark romance, but hockey type thing. So you meet this guy, and his name is Luca, and he was in the mafia, and he's trying to break away and like start a whole nother life. Some shit went down, and he had to go into hiding. So he ends up working as a bodyguard for this certain pro hockey team. And the guy on the team, his name is Max, and he is obsessed with him. He just watches him from afar, you know, and he just like fantasizes about him, like just in awe of him, you know. And Max is in the closet, and something ends up happening to Max, and they hire Luca to be his personal bodyguard, like 24/7. And the chemistry between these two, oh my god, just the way, when, you know, and just like slowly falling for each other, you know. And then, you know, just the drama of like Luca being, you know, trying to stay out of the spotlight and stuff, but trying to be his bodyguard and not try to fall for him. But, you know, he's already fallen for him, you know, but trying not to fall harder for him, because he knows that one day he won't be able to be around. I loved it. And just the duet made it even better, made it even fucking better. It's a very quick story, but I think it's well put together, you know. Like, it's just a good time. It's nothing too crazy, but, you know, the chemistry, the you know, the scenes, they're all there. And then, you know, you have our boys reading it. Oh my god, yes, good. Now for a really popular book talk one, and that is the Jacksonville Ray series, aka like the Pucking Around series. So right now we have 3 books, okay, well 5 if you count like the little side stories. So, but the main books, there's only 3. So it is narrated by, it's by Emily Roth, and it is narrated by Amy Hall, Alex Kidd, and Ashley Beverly. So this is like polyamorous relationships by, you know, representation. So the first book I loved, but so you meet, the first book is about the 4. So you meet Rachel, and she has like a one-night stand with this dude. She calls him Mr. Perfect. They don't even get each other's names, but a one-night stand turns into a couple of days staying with each other, and they feel like they're soulmates. But she's like trying to live her life and go off and like not be tied down, you know. And she's just like, I can't do this. I can't date any like athletes and stuff like that, because I just don't want to. I don't want to be in the middle of it. I'm really trying to take my career seriously. So then they end up parting ways. Now she's a physical therapist for you know, athletes. Whose team does she end up playing, you know, being a therapist on? Mr. Perfect, aka Jake. Now Jake has a best friend named Caleb, and Caleb's been in love with Jake for years, but, you know, he doesn't think Jake could ever feel the same, because he just always tend to like girls, you know. So those 3 all end up getting in a little triangle and decide that, like, instead of like you know, like fighting over her, they might as well just like try to all be together, because she wants both of them. I don't blame her. Okay, then there was another guy that brought in. So what pissed me off about Rachel, I felt like she was just playing with these boys, and I actually like stopped listening to her for a little while. But I was like, no, let me push through it, because like, I don't care that you wanted to run through the whole team, girl. Do you? Good for you. But I didn't like it that she was playing with these boys. I felt like she was playing with these boys' feelings, because they were best friends. They really cared about each other. They both cared about her, but she just was like always wishy-washy. And of course, like, I get it. She never knew that she was going to be like in a relationship, a poly relationship with anybody. And then they were like fucking famous and all that shit that came with it. You see what I'm saying? But when she brought the 3rd one in, I was like, what are we doing, girl? But it all makes sense towards the end, you know. That being said, like, I could have dealt without Rachel. It could have just been the 3 guys, and I was cool, because I felt like they had a better connection. And like, sometimes like when I was listening to them, I'm like, oh, Rachel's still here? Oh, okay. But the one that I did like was Pucking Sweet. So out of all the whole series, Pucking Sweet was my favorite. Oh, I love me some Poppy, okay? That's my girl. And that was another one that was a polyamorous relationship. So you met Poppy St. Clair. She was bad bitch, okay? She was the PR of the same, you know, hockey team, getting shit done, cracking skulls, you know, single girl. Her parents wanted her to live a different life than what she was living. They wanted her to be like this little Southern belle, get married, have kids, and she's just like, no, I don't want to do that, you know. So she had like always button heads with her family. So this one dude on the team was her problem boy, you know. He was always causing trouble, always having to make her work harder. But the chemistry between these two was on point. So then the other dude, so his name was Lucas, okay? But then she knew the other guy named Colton, and they worked together in other places, you know, other states and stuff. And they were actually neighbors, and Colton had it bad for Poppy. Oh my God, he had it so bad for Poppy. So Poppy started messing with both of them. And they realized, and they're teammates, so they hung out with each other and everything. So they find out that they're both messing with Poppy, and they're like, well, fuck it, let's you know, basically like share her and all, you know. And if they weren't even together yet, but I love the way that it took its time. Like, this book was hella long, but it needed to happen because to develop all these relationships, because the boys ended up being together. Oh my God, I just love them. I love the way that she did this one. Oh, I just love them. I love listening to it if I had time. And then I know that this year we're getting the last book called Punky Strong, and I believe that's just the two guys. So I'm really excited to hear about that one. And I heard a rumor that it could be like Omega Verse type shit. I was like, ooh, I love that shit. I eat that shit up. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, I feel like Fucking Sweet was the best. Pucking Around is worth reading, especially if you read the other two little novellas. Like, there's like little side stories in between. You need to read those because sometimes, or listen to those, because man, that one where they go to the dentist, Mars, I'm telling you, oh, so good. So yes, those are worth it. Like I said, you can get rid of Rachel needs to go. Okay, but other than that, yeah, love them. My girl Serena Bowman comes through with another hockey romance. Well, it's part of a bigger series, but you don't have to read the whole series to understand this one. And that is Understatement of the Year. And it is read by Teddy Hamilton and our boy Christian Fox. Is it? Yep. This is a very emotional one. Please be warned. There's a lot of like ugly parts in this book, but I feel like it's worth reading. So you meet these two boys named Graham and Riker, and they've known each other since they were young, and they were best friends. They couldn't separate these two, and friendship turned into something deeper, and they started to explore, you know, love between them and feelings and new things between each other in the dark, you know. And both of their families being religious, very heavily in the church community and stuff like that, they really were pressed to stay in the closet and keep this all a secret, because especially Graham's family was very into what they felt like was a way to live, you know. And then Riker's family was a little bit more laid back about stuff. So something happens to these boys, and something happens to them, and they are basically outed, and things are found out, and in a panic with these fucking grown-ups, you know, they try to cover it up. Nothing happened, even though something really traumatic happened to these boys. And then Riker's sent away and to go live with his grandma, and Graham is left there to deal with what happened to them and losing his best friend, you know, secretly, because nobody wants to hear it. Everybody's like covering it up, acting like it didn't happen, but you know, Graham has the scars emotionally to, you know, that are still there. So they both play hockey, and years later, like 5 years later, Riker is outed on his team, and he is forced to be traded because his coach is a piece of shit, and he ends up on Graham's team. Now Graham is freaking the fuck out, because in all that time, Graham has not admitted to himself that he is gay, and to nobody, not even himself. and he has not talked about what's happened between him and Riker all those years ago. So now Riker being on the team, he's like, and they haven't talked since then, he's like, oh my god, he's like freaking the fuck out. But when he looks at him, he knows that he still has all these great feelings about him, but he can't even come to terms with himself, you know. So he like goes through it. He goes fucking through it. And Riker, you know, is going through it himself because he's like the only person that's out in, you know, even though he didn't want to be out in the league, you know. So he's getting smoke from that, you know. He's getting dirty looks from fucking Graham. He's like, you know, the only person that knows him, you know. He's got like just shit that he's dealing with on top. And, you know, then they finally face what happened all those years ago and face that they still have feelings for each other, you know. And it's just not like, not picked up where they left off, but it's always been there. And it's so gut-wrenching. It's so good. And even though it's like only like 7 hours long, I feel like she took her time. She took her time to lay out the story to us. You know, Teddy Hamilton, Christian Fox, they do a great job. Even, I don't think it was a duet. No, it wasn't a duet, but you know, our boys know how to bring a story to life. And the ending I just loved, you know. It was so hopeful, so optimistic, you know. And it sucks that this is the fucking reality of stuff at times. And these babies did nothing to nobody, just living their lives, innocent kids. And still, when we meet them, they're in college. They, you know, like, it's gut-wrenching. And it's the influence of other people that are around them that, you know, molded Graham into what he was. And it was just heartbreaking to see. And it's really a story about, like, self-love, you know, learning how to not give a fuck, to not be a people pleaser, you know, to live out loud, to love, you know, fiercely, and to remember, like, we all die at the end of this shit. So why not live your life? Because other people are living their damn lives, you know. And I love how Riker was very patient with Graham as he figured this shit out. You know, he gave him the space, he gave him the time, he gave him the love. He was, you know, like stern with him when he needed to be. But he never gave him like an ultimatum. He never like pushed him to come out. He never did any of that stuff. He let Graham come to terms with everything and face his self on his own terms. And I just love that about it. So yeah, definitely worth reading, worth loving them babies. They're so great. All right, last hockey one that I picked. I'm telling you, there's so many good ones out there. I mean, like, Serena Bowman still has plenty of fucking hockey romances that she did that were so good. But I picked Iced Out because I really do love this book. This is another book that's a part of a series. It's the first book, and it is by C.E. Ritchie, and it is performed by Christian Fox again and Leo DiCosimo. Okay, and this is a enemies to lovers. So these two idiots. So you have Quentin and you have Oakley. Quentin's like the black sheep. Oakley's like the golden boy, you know, and they hate each other for good reasons. And a total misunderstanding, but for good fucking reasons. They hate each other. But they play on the same team and they try to coincide with each other, but they can't stand each other, and it shows out on the ice. And their team is on like a losing streak. And they're just trying to find out like how the hell to get out of this losing streak. But and that's basically the only thing that they have in common is the love of the game and what they the things that they will do to win and for the love of the game. And one night it is really tested because they go to a party and then they end up daring each other, and so shit goes down. And it's like I said, their team is on a losing streak, but after that goes down, they start winning. So they're like, I fucking hate you, but we gotta do what we gotta do, you know, like, we can't change anything up, you know. And so they continue to see each other secretly, but fucking hate each other. But, you know, the sex is great, the fucking banter is great, like everything, and then they can't help but to slowly, like, start falling for each other. I absolutely love it. And, you know, like, enemies to lovers, you really, if you do it right, you know, you get the push and the pull, and then you really figure out, like, hey, I didn't know this about that person, or hey, I didn't know this about that person, you know. So you do have some good characters in these books, you know. Quentin, he seems like an asshole, but he's really just a sweetie pie because he's going through some shit, you know. And Oakley, he could seem like very naive at times, but he doesn't mean to be because he lives a good life, you know, like he lives a pampered life. So, but yeah, but at the same time, he's very neglected, I want to say, kind of, you know. So yeah, these babies are worth. And I haven't read any of the other series, but Iced Out, love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's talk about some paranormal romance, aka monster smashing. So, I think I got to show you some of my favorite ones. So, first one up, I am a sucker for werewolves. And if they're gay, even fucking better. Okay, so the first one is the Green Creek series by T.J. Klune, and it's narrated by Kurt Graves. He does a wonderful job. Okay, so this story is so good. There's 4 books, and it is amazing. So I always say it's like when I first listened to the first book, I was like, this reminds me of Twilight, but it's better, and it's gay. So you meet this guy in the first book named Ox, and his daddy told him he ain't never gonna be shit, and he shows him differently. So he ends up meeting. So it's like in a small town, and Ox has lived there like all his life, you know, simple life and everything, until the Bennetts moved back into town, and everything just takes a turn after the Bennetts show up, and they are a pack of werewolves, but he doesn't know that until he starts hanging out with one of the boys in the family. So there's, how many boys are there? There's 3 boys in the family. So the one falls like head over heels for him, and the story just progresses from there. Number 2, and I want to say number 4 broke me. Oh, no. Number 2 and number 3. Yes. Oh, my babies. I love them so much. The story is just like, it's about like found family, love, and loyalty. Like, oh my goodness, and fated mates. Oh my god, I'm such trash for fated mates. I don't know why. And then like, there's a lot of betrayal. There's like a lot of inner struggles for the main characters, you know, and outside, you know, struggles. And there's a lot of like paranormal things going on. I wish there was more, like we got to see like more creatures, but it just mainly just focuses on the werewolves and the witches that were in the book. So, but it was good. It's so good. Like the way, and it's not very smutty at all, which is totally okay, because the character is such a character-driven story. So if you really like character-driven stories, then this is a must, you know. And if you listen to it, you're gonna love it, because Kurt Graves does such a great job bringing the story to life. And even though there's so many characters, he does a great job at, like, you will know which character's up and talking and everything. And I love that. Like, if you're gonna have one person only read your shit, like, have somebody that could do multiple characters and not take you out of the story, you know, because it's easy. You're like, who's that? What's that? Huh? Like, I can't stand that shit. But yeah, he does a great job all the way to the end of the series, and I'm glad that he was able to stay with the rest of the series. But it is so good. Then we sticking with the werewolf theme. Okay, now don't judge me for this one. Okay, I am aware that it's corny as fuck, but I love it, and that is Bros and the Beast. I just found this book this year. So Hoopla has you know, it gives you credits, and then sometimes I'd be looking for things that I could just turn my brain off and like just fall asleep or, you know, relax to. I don't need a whole bunch of brain cells to listen to it. So, and I found that one, and it was an absolute delight. I'm in love with it. It is so corny, and I absolutely love it. But it is Bros and the Beast by Joelle Abineri, and I'm sorry, boo. And then C.L. Davis, and it's read by Sean Jane and Hobby Wilder, and it is just hilarious. So you have this guy named Brad, and he's like a frat boy. He's just like, you know, manly man and shit like that. And, you know, he hangs out with his bros and shit. And he has a twin brother, and his twin brother is gay. And he has a harder time than Brad with things, you know, and fitting in and like being social and having a love life and stuff like that, you know. And he loves to read his books. He's like really into, his twin brother's like really into his books. And Brad and him get into an argument one night, and his twin leaves, and he's like, fuck, man. And he's trying to think of a way to you know, say sorry and like connect more with his twin. So he sees one of his twin's books, like his little slutty romance books, and he picks it up. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna start reading this so I can connect with my brother. He won't be mad at me because we'll talk about something he wants to talk about, you know. And he ends up reading like 75% of the book, you know, before he has to leave to go meet up with his homies, right? So he ends up going, and he ends up getting in a car accident. And when he wakes up, he's actually in the book that he just got done reading, and he took the place of the main girl, Katrina. So now he's stuck in this werewolf romance with this dude named Raul, and he's like, the fuck, like, I don't even mess with dudes, like, this is weird. He's like, I'm dreaming, I'm gonna wake up, and when I do, but then he realizes this shit is real. He's like, nah, I need to get back home. And everybody's like, what are you talking about, where's home? And he's like, you know, reality, this shit ain't real, you know. And it's like back in like, the setting is almost like in the 80s, like there's no cell phones, there's no nothing like that in this town. He's just like freaking the fuck out. And he's so vulgar, like the way he talks, he doesn't care what comes out of his mouth. Brad is hilarious to me, like he has no filter, and everybody's like, who is this guy? And Raul is like, oh man, that is my mate. And you know, like, he's just so in love with them. I'd be dead. I love him. There's only 2 audiobooks out right now, and I was too impatient to wait. So I went and bought all the other books and read them, and they're only like 150 pages. Like, it almost reads like fanfic. That's what it is. Like, it cracks me up how good this book is. I was just like, I think it was one of those things that was like the right places at the right time, you know. And I just absolutely love him. I love Brad so much, and I'm waiting, like foaming at the mouth, waiting for the last book. I love him so much, so much. Then we have, this one I just found recently and absolutely adore. So still with the werewolves, but you have vampires, and it is called Fake Dates and Fanged Mistakes, and it's by Allie Winters, and it's read by Michael F. And it is such a good time. Like, it's so there's this town, or I want to say city, that werewolves dominated, and then vampires came in, and then you had the main vampire dude that came in and was like, I'm gonna live here too, vampires are gonna live here too, we gonna have like a little treaty, things are gonna happen, you know, like we gonna coincide, but they hate each other. So the one werewolf, his name is, what is that baby's name? Julian, yes. So Julian is the alpha of the werewolf pack's son, and he doesn't really want anything to do with like being a part of the pack, being the alpha one day. He just wants to do him. He wants to live his life. He wants to do his art and everything, and just, you know, not be anybody's something, you know. He's just hanging out, having a good time, and he is so funny. Like, he's just so witty. I just love him. And he actually gets jumped by some vampires, and the main vampire dude, Kashmir, is that his name? Kashmir saves him, and he almost dies, and he ends up saving him by giving him blood, and then he ends up like with different abilities and stuff. Now he wants peace with everybody, you know, and so he's like, well, we should fake date each other. We should act like, you know, me and you, show people that we can get along, unite our people, you know, because meanwhile somebody has come into their territory and is like picking vampires and werewolves and humans off. So they're trying to figure out like, who the hell are these rogue people that are doing this, and while trying to unite their people together. And those two together are fucking hilarious, because Kashmir, he's like a hella old vampire, and he doesn't like interact with people all the time. He's used to like people doing what he's, he says what to do, and he just looks at people as like food. So he doesn't really like interact with them and know how the hell they act. So when he's around Julian, like, it is hilarious. And then like I love how he gives him like backhanded compliments and stuff and calls it flirty. Like, it is hilarious. Oh my goodness, I literally laugh out loud like listening to this book. I absolutely love them, and it's a series, so I will definitely be getting the next book because I'm just in love with them. All right, next one. Ooh, this next one I just love so much. Ooh. Okay, so this is Nikki St. Crow's The Devourer series. Oh man. Okay, so these two books are part of a bigger series. Okay, so it's part of the Lost Boys series. That it's a retelling of Peter Pan, and it's a dark romance paranormal / series. But if you read through the first book, so the first set of books are like wide shoes, but like the swords don't cross. But if you keep going and you get to the Devourer of Men and Devourer of Dark, Lord, let me tell you. So that part of the series is read by Shane East and Robert Hatchett and Stella Hunter. Oh my goodness, I want Stella Hunter to call me a good girl. Her voice, but that's besides the point. So you have the three, it's like a polyamorous relationship. So you have James Hook, and then you have the Croc, and it's like enemies to lovers, and then you have Wendy Darling. Okay, so James and Croc, obviously they have history, they fucking hate each other, and it's because of Wendy Darling. And Wendy goes missing, and both of them rush off to go find her, and in the midst of finding her, they like confront the stuff that happened in the past, and then they make up for lost time. So I was like, oh my god, I was like squealing through the whole thing. Oh my god, and the voices, oh my god, the Croc's voice. And when he told James that he only had 6 words, if you listen to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When he told him that he had only 6 words, I literally squealed. I had something in my hand and I literally dropped it. Like, usually I can keep my composure like when listening to stuff like that, but honey, these two, I was just like, oh my god, James, you're gonna get it, and I love it for you, boy. I'm just like squealing. I'm just so happy. Like, I just love that series. So, and like the ending of them, like the cliffhangers, I'm like, especially the first book, I was like, that's edging. She is edging us, and I don't appreciate it. Okay, but the second one, she came back, and I believe there's going to be a third one. So, oh man, I love that series so much. Then we have The Soul Eater. So this is like the Monsters series, but I only listened to the one. So it's called Soul Eater, and it's by Lily Main, and it's read by Michael Leslie, and they do a really good job. This one is really immersive. Like, the voices that they use in here, it's just like, at first I was like, oh my god, like, but I was like, okay, like, as it went on, it made sense, So you meet this guy named Danny. Now the monsters, all of a sudden, like 20 years ago, monsters just come into the world and they wreak havoc, and now everything's like dystopian. You have like the military like trying to keep things in check, like trying to go out and take care of all these monsters that are popping up. So and there's this one monster called the Soul Eater that's really like messing up everybody. Everybody that he comes in contact, they're not able to get close to him and everything like that. So Danny actually joins the military because like he feels like he has nothing left. Like, his family's gone, he's starving. Like, at least the military will feed him, but he has like no desire to like deal with anything of these monsters. So, and on one of the missions that they were really going to try to capture the Soul Eater, Danny is put in the middle of it, and everybody dies but him. So, and they actually capture the Soul Eater, and they're trying to figure out, they have Danny go in and talk to him because nobody's ever survived an encounter with him, and they want to know why Danny made it. And, you know, so the more that Danny talks to the Soul Eater, the more he realizes, like, everything isn't what it seems, you know. So they end up together and going on a journey, and it's just like, ugh, it's such a different way of, like, it's a different story. Like, it's a unique type story, and, you know, you find out why, you know, all these monsters came, and you find out what the Soul Eater's purpose really is and everything like that. I'm very interested to see the rest of the series. This one that I really want to see is called Moth, but it's like the 5th book, and I think you have to go in order, so I'm like, man, fuck. Like, so, but yeah, you get to meet other monsters and everything, and like the, you know, the little steamy parts are like, oh, good, so good. So yeah, but I absolutely love it. Your girl had to put her hair down because ponytail was giving me a little bit of a headache, but that's all right. It's fitting because we're about to end this with some dark romance. So the first one that I picked, now be warned, I'm going to talk about some heavy stuff, and it may not all be for you, and that's okay, but this is what I found that I liked, you know. So first one is the Necessary Evils series. This is just a good time, okay? This one's by Otley James, and there are 8 titles, and it's narrated by Liam DeCosimo all the way through the whole series. And like I said, this is a good time. So I like to think of this is the best way I could describe it. It's like if Batman and all the Robins, they were gay and they kill people. That's because, you know, Batman doesn't kill people. But so you have this main guy named Thomas Mulvaney, and he's rich, he's powerful, he has resources, everything, you know, endless money. Okay, so something tragic happens to him, and he wants to take it upon himself to, like, do good in the world. So he ends up adopting like 7 boys, and all of them are kind of like Dexter. If you ever seen Dexter, like how, you know, something wasn't right about this guy, but instead of like locking them up or getting rid of them themselves, they make them into killing machines. But they go and they kill people that need to be gone, like people that hurt children, people that hurt women, you know, people that are just out here doing the most. Okay, so by day they live like the fucking Kardashians, but by night they're, you know, vigilantes. And each of the boys has their own story. So the first story starts off with like one of the younger ones, and it's like enemies to lovers. So he's sent to find this one dude, and the son of that guy that's a horrible piece of shit, his son ends up witnessing the whole thing. So he's like vowing that one day he's going to get this boy back, but they end up falling for each other. So, and they like classify them as like psychopaths, like they don't have feelings, but they become obsessed and they with a person. So each story is about these psychopaths finding their person. So my favorite stories are the twins. The twins are fucking crazy, okay? They are crazy. And then the dad, fucking Thomas Mulvaney. Ooh, that one is so good. So that one, he actually okay, let me finish this. He actually gets involved with one of the guys that he ends up adopting. But when he adopted this guy, he was already like 17 and a half years old when he adopted him, and he had to because of something that he did just to like cover it up. So, but he never called him dad, he never saw him as dad, and actually like he started having feelings for him, and fucking Thomas was like, no, we're not doing this, you know, like he used to be like, you know, you're like fucking 15 years younger than me, like this is not happening, like no, you know, and he's just like, no, this is gonna happen. And I like the way that it played out, and it made it make sense. You're kind of like, oh, age gap. He did kind of like, you know, he was labeled his stepson, you know. It was just like, oh boy. But yeah, it was good, and like I said, just a good time, something to just enjoy, you know, nothing too crazy. I do like the stories. I like how they had like a Babs in the situation. Like they had somebody that was like really computer savvy, and she, when they would call her, she was like hella like smart mouth and everything. But I absolutely loved her. So yeah, definitely worth listening to. At least I feel like they are. Then we have, okay, so these next two books. So I just recently found these books this year. I know that this author, I've only dipped my toes in like some dark romance, okay? And I'm just now reading Rena Kent's work, and I found out that she had some standalone dark romance, and I was like, okay, let me see. So the first one that I found was Gods of Fury, and that's like all over TikTok, all over the internet, and I was like, fuck it. So it is part of a bigger series, you know. It's like the mafia, and they're all fucking unhinged, and they find their person, you know. So in this one, Gods of Fury, is Teddy Hamilton and Shane East, and they're doing a duet. Baby, the way that they had me clenching my thighs listening to this book, the narration, and it's a full cast. It's a whole full cast. You have a bunch of other people in there. I can't even remember right now, but those are the two main ones. So you meet Nikolai, and he's part of this powerful family of, and they're in the mafia. He's like the nephew of the powerful couple, and you know, him and his cousins are wreaking havoc and shit. And he hates one of these dudes, but the dude has a twin brother named Brandon. And when he sees Brandon, he just becomes obsessed with him. He does everything he can to be around him, to annoy the fuck out of him. And Brandon, he comes from a very well, you know, established family of their own. You know, they have money, they're respected in their community and all that shit, you know. So he's like their golden boy. And he's harboring something deep in him that happened to him, and he like has like this routine to try to keep everything under control. But when he's around Nikolai, everything like goes to shit, and he's like, I don't like dudes. And Nikolai's like, that's not what your thing is saying, you know. So but he is so adamant about it. Like Nikolai is unhinged that time. He don't give a fuck. He don't like to wear clothes. He just likes to do whatever he wants, you know. Like he just fucks whoever's around. Like he's just wild, fights whoever he wants, whatever. But at the same time, like he is such a marshmallow. He's such a marshmallow. And at first it starts off so chaotic, but as they like get to know each other and like be around each other, you just see how fucking sweet he is to him. Like it's so good. And like 90% of the book, something happens, and I was like, what the fuck, are you serious? Like, don't be one of those tragic like queer books that, you know, you have to have something hella traumatic to happen, but it didn't. So I was hella happy. This is one of my favorite reads of the year. Like those babies, I can't get enough. I can't wait to find like a special edition of that book. And I'm not really interested in all the other ones. But one of the ones that it is like a spin-off of that bigger series, and I ended up reading Kiss the Villain because it had the same thing, MM romance, you know, standalone. So you meet this one. Okay. So you have Stephen Dexter and Grayson Owens reading this, and this one starts off crazy. This starts off like you're gonna be like, what the fuck am I reading? What is she not into now? Like, look, like the way that it starts, I almost stopped listening to it. Okay, so you have like enemies to lovers, real big time, for a good ass reason. You have this age gap, you have like this secret romance, you have like all this dark shit going on, you know. So you meet is it Caden? No, Gareth. Gareth is Nikolai's cousin, okay? But you don't need to know that to listen to this book. So and he's in the same like circle, you know. His brother, he crazy and shit like that. He's running the mob and shit. So Gareth is very golden boy, straight A student, fucking top of his class, fucking never really gets in trouble, but he is a fucking hellion. He is a monster inside, and he is harvesting stuff, and like he likes to do like really like conniving shit, you know, but nobody really knows that that's what he does. He only thinks that it's his brother. People only think that it's his brother that gets into bullshit. So he has like this vendetta for this other dude that runs in the other mob, and he tries to set him up one night in some really like fucked up way. Little that happens is that he ends up, the tables get turned on him, and this guy assaults him, and he is thrown for a loop. Now he finds out, he's determined to find out who did this to him, and come to find out it's his fucking professor. And now he's hell-bent on making this man's life miserable. Meanwhile, Caden is the teacher, and he feels the same way. Like, he's like, he was like, I know about this boy. Like, everybody else thinks that he is this goody two-shoe, and he's a piece of shit. And I'm going to make his life hell. And they go, like, this is cat-mouse game between these two. And as the story goes along, if you decide to read it, and you decide to listen to what happens at first, and, like, keep going, you're going to understand why. I'm not going to say it makes sense. You're going to understand why it played out the way it did, you know? So, but I ended up appreciating what happened. It is a good story, like, as far as, like, the way that shit plays out, and the push and pull between these two. And, yeah, like, this is definitely dark romance. Like, this is definitely, but you can't help but to, like, feel for both of these individuals. So the way that Rena can play this out. So yeah, it may not be for you, but I mean, hey, it was a good time for me. I don't know. I'm not saying don't judge me on the beginning, but I was just like, I was like, oh, no, thank you. And then I literally almost stopped listening to it. I stopped listening to it for like a week or two, and then I was like, well, how did these two like even end up, like, because I see, like, you know, fandom pics of them and shit like that, and I'm like, how does this all play out? And my curiosity got the best of me, but the way that it wrapped up, I was like, okay, if you like it, I love it. So yeah, but Rena Kent is working, I heard she's working on 3 new ones, so probably gonna eat that shit up. So yeah, all right, now last but not motherfucking least, my favorite and like dark romance, like the series has me all the way fucked up, and that is the Lioness series by Sierra Simone. It is narrated by Oscar Rise and Isabella Ruther for right now. Okay, so far there is 3 books, and the 4th one is supposed to be coming out in October. So man, I love the series so much. So you meet, the first book is called Salt Kiss. Okay, so you meet Tristan, and Tristan he was in the service, and he's seen some shit. He's been on several like tours and everything. The last one was really bad, you know, and he's seen some shit, gone through some shit, and now he comes back and tries to live this mundane life, and it ain't working. So his dad actually gets married, and his wife's siblings, one name is Mark, they're twins, so one name is Mark, and Mark used to work for the CIA. He's done some dirty, like, shady shit. Okay, Mark is a very shady ass person, you know, very powerful, very, you know, fucking billionaire, you know, like, and he has this club, and it's an elite sex club, and, you know, it's not like just the titty club down the fucking street and stuff. This is like, you have to be somebody to get into this club. Well, Mark has been threatened a lot, and he needs a new bodyguard, and he's like, well, you know, Tristan knows what he's doing. He knows how to protect people. He knows how to serve. So, you know, he offers Tristan a job, and Tristan has never had anything to do with sex or anything like that. Like, he's about to enter a whole new world, something that he does not know anything about. And the reason why is because Tristan feels like he falls in love easily. Like, so Mark tells him, like, look, I'm gonna put you in this situation. You're gonna see shit. Are you gonna be able to be with, you know? And Tristan's like, yeah. So he ends up being his bodyguard, and the things that he sees, and that he, like, Mark's looking for a new sub, and Tristan, like, begs him to be his new sub, and he's just like, you know, don't expect me to fall for you or anything like that, but, you know, so, spoiler alert, Mark is fucking engaged to be married, and that throws Tristan in, you know, a fucking tailspin, you know, and he's just like, you've been messing with me, and you have a whole ass wife on the way. And then Mark does like some fucking gaslighting. So he's like, it's all over the news, like it's all in the paper and everything. Like, how did you not know? I thought you knew, you know, but you just didn't want to see it. Mark's like that dude. Like, I'm like, this man. But you know, so he meets Isol, which is Mark's fiance, and when Tristan and Isol meet, it's like instant love. Like, she feels it, he feels it, like, holy shit. And then she's just like, she is to spy on Mark and get information from Mark. So this is not like love as like per se for her and Mark, but she falls in love with Tristan. And this whole fucking triangle between these two, like, I mean, between these three, holy shit. Like, I was holding my breath half the time. I'm like, oh my god, they're so stupid. Oh my god. And like that last book, I was like, oh, the way that it ended, I was like, this bitch is edging us, and I cannot, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. The way Serena Simone, this bitch did her homework when it came to the kinks, and like the way that doms and subs, and like, you know, certain things that Isol was into and everything. I was like, oh my goodness, I've read some things, I listened to some things, but man, this is top tier. And I've said this before, this woman knows how to write like feelings. She knows how to come from different angles and write feelings. Like, I felt everything that Tristan was feeling. I felt Isol's conviction to like not fall for Mark and do her duties that she was bound to do, you know. And like, I felt how Tristan was like, felt betrayed, but like, he, at the same time, he's doing some fucking stupid shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, just the mess between these three. I can't wait. I can't wait till the third book. I highly recommend this series. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. But yes. Oh. All right. That is it. Oh my goodness. I really try to be quick with this, but this is like my favorite topic to talk about. I absolutely love MM romance, and a couple of things that I wish that like they would start really utilizing like duets more, you know. So I feel like they're really starting to hear people's voices when they do that. I have a hard time finding like Black love, like romance. So if you know any, please let me know, okay? Because I really be, I've read a couple, but I need more. We need more. And I know like writers like Emily Rath and Serena, Simone, they aren't scared to put people of color in the forefront. You know, they don't just use them for like background noise. So, but we need more people that have power like that and have the resources and shit like that to have, you know. And I want to see more gay guys kissing gay guys, Black gay guys, okay? So if you know any, let a girl know. Please point me in the right direction. Definitely, if you listen to any of these books, listen responsibly, okay? You know, do your research, because I don't want anybody to feel icky listening to any of these books. It's supposed to be a good time. And yeah, if you have any recommendations, please leave them. There's like so many more to cover. Like, I know I was like having a hard time to like even narrow it down to these ones, but just love it. Like, maybe if you guys like it, you want to talk about it some more, you know, maybe I'll do another one further down the line. And yeah, I appreciate any time that you spend on watching this. You know, this is, it's coming out in June where it's Pride, but we read queer all year here on M&M, and I hope that you do too. You know, this isn't just for the clout and just saying that you did, you know. Like, hopefully this opens up more, you know, lines of like reading and stuff for you and listening, and especially audiobooks. I did a lot of these books. 90% of them were from my local library. from Hoopa for Libby. Like, please utilize your stuff, especially if you're not too sure about it and you don't know if you want to keep that or anything like that. Definitely support your local library. I know that Vegas, you do not need to be a resident there to get a book for them, and their catalog is fire. So yes, definitely check that out. And yeah, like I said, thank you, appreciate you, happy Pride Month. You know, Mama Sheena and TT Inja, we love you here. You know, there's no space for hate here, so we love you. And yeah, take care of yourself, and till next time.